We're back here on One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show. I'm Andrew Gullotta here alongside Brij Gautam, and we are joined by the newest Fordham football alum, 2021 Stats Perform FCS All-American, and now a new member of the San Francisco 49ers as their sixth-round pick, offensive lineman Nick Zakelj. How you doing, Nick?
Doing well. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Now, thank you for coming on. And my first question I want to ask you, going back to last weekend, where were you? Who were you with when you got the call from the Niners then when they told you were picked?
Yeah. So, I was just back home in Cleveland, kind of just with my immediate family. Really did not want to have a big kind of draft party just because, it was Saturday was a long day, and I just kind of wanted to keep the nerves to a minimum, just kind of be able to enjoy with my family. Obviously, after I got the call, I got picked and all that, went out and celebrated with family and friends. So that was a great time, and I think it just worked out perfectly the way it was.
And Nick, for you, what was that feeling like when you knew you were like, I'm going to go to the NFL, like I'm actually going to get drafted? What was that like? When did that reality set in for you?
I was nervous all the way up until I got the call from John Lynch, the GM. It was just absolutely surreal. I had my family all around, just completely quiet, just kind of listening into the call, and it kind of just it really didn't really hit me until just about a few days ago. I'd say that kind of like, wow, obviously there's still a lot of work to do, but I kind of really, that now I can say I'm an NFL football player, that all the work I've put in past couple of years at Fordham, especially, just that it's all kind of come to fruition. And it's kind of just how like the immense sense of pride was great.
Nick, you've obviously had, a great career at Fordham, and, you went to the Senior Bowl earlier, kind of this whole draft process. When was it for you where it was really getting serious, where like, okay, I can actually be an NFL prospect, NFL player? Was it, this year, last year? Like, when could that kind of mindset really set in?
Yeah, so I'd probably say it was after the 2019 season, just because I got a lot of good feedback from my coaches and from like scouts and all that, kind of how they really like my play, my size, my athleticism. So I feel like that's kind of when I really started to kind of hunker down and really kind of get to work saying, okay, if I want to go after this, I really got to get after it and just kind of just put my head down and work as hard as I can. And that's something that I really started to do, just kind of try to become the best player I can be and just try to clean everything up, just my technique, my body. And just, that's something that really try to think. So I say after that season, I really tried to get after it.
Yeah, and speaking of sort of, getting pro ready, you played at Nebraska last year, FAU, you played a ranked FCS team in Monmouth early on. Did you think those games were important in your development? Did you feel a raised level of competition? Did you feel like you put yourself on the map in a way that you weren't before?
Oh, I definitely feel that I wouldn't be in a position I am now if Coach Conlon didn't schedule that Nebraska game. Because I remember it was after the spring season. I want to say sometime maybe May or June, even. Like, it was pretty late in like kind of like the year to be scheduling games. Kind of just texted me, Jesse, and Trey, the captains, and said like, "Hey, are you guys interested in playing Nebraska and Lincoln?" And obviously, all of us were like, "Yeah, that'd be a great experience." And so, I think that the way I performed in that game and trying to being able to kind of get that film out there, show that I can play against especially a Big Ten opponent, a solid defense as well in the Big Ten. I think that really showed a lot of teams and a lot of people what I'm capable of. I think that definitely helped my stock just about as much as anything did.
And talk about that Nebraska game. How did it feel like to play in front of that many fans? Obviously, NFL, kind of that NFL type experience.
Oh, it was ridiculous. I think just that playing in front of a few thousand coffee to 85,000 in Lincoln, that was just insane experience. I just think that it just shows that how the fan bases of a team like that are just so. It's a great experience overall. I think that just the whole week building up into it, kind of just being able to play that game, I think was just one of my top football experiences I've had in my life.
Yeah, if you can play against, I think, close to 90,000 fans, I think you're certainly ready to play in the NFL. And I want to talk a little bit about, the quarterback that you protected for most of your time here, a guy named Tim DeMorat. Was there sort of a moment from him that stuck out to you most while taking the field with him?
There's just been a lot of Tim's a great player. He's obviously made a lot of great plays. I just think that his leadership has shown a lot, and being able to kind of move our offense to a different level with the way he's able to not even move the ball through the air, but also using his legs. I think memory that comes to mind is the Lehigh game when he pulled the one read option, ran at 65, 70 yards. And I kind of looked behind me. I was like, okay, he didn't hand it off. Like, where is he? Oh, he's 35 yards down the field. That was just a crazy memory too. I think that I really enjoyed playing with Tim, protecting Tim. I think I'm really excited to look where he ends up.
And you obviously have brought home a lot of hardware for the Rams, All-American, First Team All-Patriot League, Academic All-Patriot League. Definitely, big games. We talk about the Nebraska one, or just, throughout the Patriot League, big games overall. Like, is there any single moment, accomplishment that really sticks out to you, award for you?
I mean, obviously the All-American honors, the All-Patriot League honors are great. I'm probably most proud of the academic all district from COSIDA. I think that means a lot, especially to my family, just because of how it shows that getting it done off the field and on is something that I'm really happy for. So I think that those probably mean the most to me, as opposed to the on the field achievements, just because it's kind of I think just shows that the hard work I put in off the field really kind of sets the tone too.
Yeah, I mean, clearly that's a lot. I mean, you've taken home, as Andrew just said, a lot of hardware, and that comes through a lot of hard work. I mean, you've really had quite the football journey. I mean, I guess I could ask, when did it all start for you? When did you realize, you could really, you're really good at this? What sort of inspired you to get into football? I know everyone has a great story.
I'd say my older brother, Matt, he definitely is someone who I look up to a lot. And I think that just kind of how seeing him playing football when I was younger, obviously always wanting to follow in those footsteps. I think just kind of being from Ohio, a big football state, I think that just kind of is a lot of guys just kind of get into it just because, I mean, it's just what we do. So I think that I want to say I started playing, flag football in about second grade. I want to say first year of tackle was third grade. So I think that ever since then, it's just been a long journey, just kind of getting better and better, just enjoying the game. Just because that the game, it's really become my life. It just means so much to me. I think I made a lot of great memories, met a lot of great people. I'm just happy that that game was able to put me in the position I am today.
And, you just say from Ohio. How did that, transfer to Fordham? How did that kind of situation work out where you went from Ohio now to the Bronx and New York City when your recruiting process?
So, yeah, I mean, really odd recruiting process. I mean, I only really had my final, my two schools before my senior year of high school, because I never really played O-line, was just Fordham and Columbia. Obviously had a couple MAC schools come in after my senior year, but I was already committed at that point. But I really just have to thank Coach Pace, who's actually now the head coach at Somerville High School in New Jersey. He because he's from Avon Lake, about 30-45 minutes from Broadway Heights, where I'm from. And so he's obviously knows the area real well and is able to find me. And I think I built a really good relationship with him. And because to be honest, I had never heard of Fordham until I had gotten recruited. I just knew of some school in the East Coast of New York City. I'd never been in New York City before. So I think that just kind of it was definitely a big jump. I think just how the pace of the city, the people, is just a very different atmosphere than I'd say Northeast Ohio. But I mean, I'm grateful I made that journey as well, just because it's exposed me to so many different people, so many different cultures. I think it's made me a much better person I am today. I'm really thankful that Coach Pace and then Coach Briner gave me the chance.
No, that's great to hear. I think especially now that you're going out to San Francisco, another new area, you're going to be more than prepared for that after. I mean, they say if you can make it here in New York, you can make it anywhere, right?
Exactly.
And, speaking of your time with the Rams, here in the Bronx, I mean, is there really one memory or a road trip, a moment that really sticks out to you, something that'll take with you not just to San Francisco, but really for the rest of your life?
Yeah, so I probably have two really big ones. I mean, obviously the Nebraska game is definitely up there with really cool football experiences, but I'd say my first start against Central Connecticut back in 2017, I think that was just such a momentous occasion, just because I wasn't really expecting to play much that year. Obviously, we had injuries in that game against Army, and so I was really kind of thrown into the fire. Just a young kid, I think second year playing O-line, and just being able to kind of learn from guys like Kevin Anderson, Anthony Coyle, Chase Edmonds, Isaiah Seawright, just those guys. Being able to kind of follow in the lead of those guys really helped me progress as a player and as a person. So I'm really thankful that I was able to kind of be in the presence of them as well. But then also, I think probably favorite game memory I want to say is Richmond from, I want to say 2018 or 2019. I think 2019 at home. That was probably first win against a CAA opponent. I think one of the best games I've been a part of since I've been to Fordham. I think one of Coach Collins' first home wins, if I'm not mistaken. I think probably second or third maybe. But I think just that game, it was just a great feeling just because I think not a lot of people picked us to win that game. I think that especially a CAA program like Richmond, where they got so many more, it's such a much better, I'd say, football conference as a whole, and just kind of be able to take it to them. So that was a really great experience, I'd say.
Talking with Nick Zakelj, the newest member of the San Francisco 49ers. And Nick, everyone talks about offensive line having that bond, and all offensive linemen, they got to, when you play with someone, it's always talking about how to, mesh with them and how to learn their playing styles. And this offensive line has really grown a ton, and up until last year was really one of the best in the Patriot League, least amount of sacks. You can kind of go through all the awards. What was that experience like, growing with those guys throughout the offensive line throughout your years, and kind of getting to a point where you guys were really at an elite level in the Patriot League last year?
Yeah, so that, I think it goes back to what you say, just kind of building that bond in the O-line room. I think that all starts with Coach Huddle. He's definitely done a great job of really building a family, a tight-knit unit in that O-line room. I think that's what really kind of was able to take us to that next level of kind of trying to be just not just an average, a good O-line unit, to being kind of one of the better ones, especially in the country. So I think that just and having guys like Phil, Lucas, Ryan Joyce, Nolan, those guys, Gio too. I think those guys I've really become, not only just my teammates, but I think my brothers, like some of my best friends I've had at school. I think that just being able to kind of get together outside of football, just being able to bond like that, just makes us so much better as a unit. And I think that those are some of the best memories I've had, are with those guys just hanging out. And I think that's something, some of the best stuff that I'll miss the most.
Absolutely. I mean, now that you're a 49er, what's next for you? I mean, seriously, have they told you what position on the line you're going to be playing? Is it guard or is it tackle? Rookie mini camps have to be coming up pretty soon, right?
Yeah. So I think there's a couple teams doing rookie mini camps this week. Our Niners mini camp is next week. So I'll be headed out there the Thursday, the 12th. I believe that mini camps that weekend. So kind of be a couple of days of kind of be able to practice with the other guys, kind of getting the groove there. And I think I'll be out there for a few more weeks, just kind of getting acclimated out there to the area, working out with the team and all that, which is gonna be really cool. But then back to the other part is that I think they kind of see me more as an interior guy, not really as much as a tackle, whether it be guard or center. I think I've gotten a lot of interest from playing center, which would be great, especially learning behind someone like Alex Mack, who I've watched since I want to say 9 years old, when he was drafted by the Browns, with those great O-lines. I think that's something that I really look forward to, just being able to kind of pick his brain, kind of seeing how he does day to day, how he kind of sees the game. I think those are something I'm really excited to look forward to.
One last question for you, Nick. As you kind of continue your career, completed this draft process, and obviously there are a lot of more players in your shoes, whether at Fordham and kind of beyond. Is there one thing that you kind of took out of that, one piece of advice that you would kind of pass on to maybe the next crop of Rams that'll be going through the draft process?
I would definitely say being able to take care of your body. I think just being a professional in that aspect, whether that be recovery, getting your diet right, making sure you're having the proper nutrients in your body. I think that, especially when I was down at Exos in Pensacola, Florida, that just kind of really brought myself to a different level of play, just because my body was able to recover properly, and I was able to just be in the best shape, by best kind of feeling I ever have been, just because of how you really treat your body, kind of recover, make sure that everything you're dealing with is kind of treated right. And your diet obviously is a big thing with that. So I think those are tips that I have taken myself that I'm going to definitely use throughout my career, hopefully to elongate it into as long as possible until the game finally gives up on me, which I think that hopefully is not soon. That's why I think that taking care of your body is the biggest thing. I think that I'm really grateful that I was able to kind of learn that, and I hope that other guys can take that as well.
That's definitely for sure. An FCS All-American, Fordham football alum, and now a San Francisco 49er, Nick Zakelj. Thank you for joining us, Nick.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
And good luck in San Francisco. We'll definitely be rooting for you here in the Bronx.
Sounds good. Thank you.
We'll be right back on One-on-One, New York's longest running sports call-in show.